Hi, and welcome back to my channel. Excuse the goggle marks, just got back from a swim lesson. But today's video, I am going to be talking about my new bookshelf organization. And before I got started, because I have to organize these books, I want to show you the brand new addition to my library. So this is the newest addition to my library. This bookshelf, been handmade by my stepdad. He spared no, not expense, but he worked this. He did all this amazing stuff with it. I want to show you this side here. I don't know how well it will come across on camera, but he textured both sides. And at first there was plastic that accidentally the wind blew against it, and he peeled it back and like, oh, that's great. So he went and he textured this whole side and the other side, which is difficult to show because it's right next to my desk, which is currently covered with books, which in the next clip will be hopefully on one of these shelves. But he handmade every single one of these shelves. He stained it, he carved it, every single bit of this. So no Billy bookshelves for me. So now that I filmed finally that overview of the bookshelf without any books on it, I did take some time to go through all of the books that I had just laying out over on my desk. You'll see the desk is finally clean, and actually put them, rearrange all the books on my bookshelf, and now I'm gonna take an updated bookshelf tour. So start off here, I don't own these. These are library books, and I am trying to get through this one before the series comes out. We'll see if I can make it. We move over here. These books are my physical TBR piles. Okay? I have added to these books. A lot of them are still the same as my first bookshelf tour. There are a couple new ones. Down at the base here are those Harry Potter art books that I talked about in my last book haul. The one problem I have is that now this shelf is completely stuffed full, and I've placed a poster that I got from the Chicago Marathon up above it. So I will have to come up with a new place to store those books. So coming back to the main shelves, most of this shelf here, my classics shelf, has not changed. So these rows that I'm not going to spend too much time haven't changed. Now down here at the bottom, I've switched over some of my Spanish language books and put some more of that adult fiction that I have gotten in these book hauls. So this is the only shelf that has changed. Over here, however, we'll see how I had just one Harry Potter shelf on my first bookshelf tour. I now have 3. So here to the left, I have the 4 illustrated editions, the Jim K illustrated editions that have been published in both English and Spanish. Coming over here on the right, I have the American hardcovers, all 7. And I put that unofficial Harry Potter spell book down at the end because it fit there. Then we come to the second shelf. The second shelf has all 7 of the American paperback versions and all 7 of the Bloomsbury hardcover Ravenclaw House editions. On the third shelf, I have the 2 illustrated Mina Lima books. I have the 4 Armenian Harry Potter books. It does bother me a little that I will never get to complete that scene because I didn't publish books 5, 6, and 7 in Armenian. And then to finish off on the right, I have the 5 Bloomsbury edition books, 1 paperback Bloomsbury, and then I have my the Hogwarts Library books in English and Spanish, as well as that book almost to the end, the Cursed Child book. I have put a new book cover on it that I got in a subscription box. Then we come down to the next shelf. This is, for now, my Lord of the Rings shelf with the edition of Paradise Lost because that fit there and it's a gorgeous edition. I have all the previous Tolkien books that you have seen, in addition to The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings in Spanish, as well as this new illustrated edition that I talked about in my book haul, most recent book haul. This shelf is sort of a mishmash. I have rearranged some of the Christian nonfiction and some of the Christian fiction because the history books that I'm getting meant that I needed to shift books on that shelf, which you will see. So these are smushed in. I am contemplating unhauling a lot of the Christian fiction, but we will see whether I do that or not in the future. And then this bottom shelf has not changed. Next we come to the second of the original shelves. On this top shelf, I have added the 4 books that I have purchased on about the Civil War. On this shelf, it has been rearranged, so I have left some room on a couple of these shelves because I know I will get more. So a lot of these are the same, although I did put my recently acquired John Adams biography right next to Alexander Hamilton. If you're a history nerd, you'll know why that's funny. On this next shelf, again, some of these books were on this shelf previously, but some were moved down from the shelf above, and I have added all of the memoirs that I have gotten, and they are on this end here, mixed together. On this next shelf, I did actually move all of my books about the Armenian genocide down chronologically next to my World War I books. The order was bothering me a little bit that they were after American history and before the biographies, so I've moved them into world history, and I've added the Operation Nemesis book that I will pull off and put on my to read shelf because I have not read that one yet. As we get to the end of this row, we do have the addition of The Few, Ravensbrück, and Nagasaki, as well as the remainder of that section there is new from the most recent book hauls. On this shelf, I have the remainder of my new nonfiction, and then the rest of the Christian fiction that I have had on this shelf previously that I am considering unhauling. It would make this bookshelf organization a little bit easier. Finally, we have the newest and, in my opinion, most amazing of the shelves. I have made this my young adult shelf, so I did move some from the previous shelf over here, and I tried to keep them generally sorted together. Most of my young adult books are fantasy. On this shelf, I actually have only 3 books that are not fantasy. On these top 2, I should say. So we start with my Hunger Games trilogy. We have my Redemptor and Raybearer series, the Raybearer series. I will be taking Redemptor off of this shelf to put it on my to read list. The next we have the Scythe trilogy, and I kept the Everlost trilogy here. I have the Aragon series, missing one of the books, so probably Cruel Prince here at the end will shift down as I rearrange this. I have Strange the Dreamer, Muse of Nightmares. I have the Three Doors series, the Leviathan series, and the Last Dragon Slayer series. On the second shelf, I have all of my Rick Riordan books in order of the Percy Jackson series, the Heroes of Olympus, and the Kane Chronicles. I have my Roald Dahl. I have Reckless by Cornelia Funke. And then I have Narnia, Divergent, and here at the end, I miscounted, there's 4. The Impossible Knife of Memory with Fire on High, Look Both Ways, and Harbor Me. On this bottom shelf, I have a little bit more historical fiction rather than fantasy. I have my Anne of Green Gables series, but then it gets back into fiction with the Pride Inn Chronicles, and the series of unfortunate events. And then because I needed more room, I shoved some more of my Christian fiction on this shelf. Again, I am thinking about unhauling it. And that concludes my bookshelf tour. I'm really excited about this new organization and the fact that I'm able to put my books on the shelves now. I cannot wait to keep adding and expanding these shelves. I'm just super excited about it. Thanks so much for joining me, and I hope to interact with you in the comments. Until the next one.